Do not blink. Do not scratch your eyes. What you can see is real. I have had a haircut. Yeah, and we're third in the league. This is going to require an explanation, I realise. We're in November. I've played a lot of Football Manager. We're back today for the FA Cup where we've been drawn against Portsmouth. But naturally, I left things yesterday and it had all gone wrong. I went for a haircut, and as I stared in the mirror, I thought to myself, what am I going to do? You know, we've had another bad start to the season. Do I need to change stuff? Do I stick with the 4-2-4 that we've seen a lot of success with? And I came back from my haircut. This is a true story. I sat and I looked at this squad, and I thought to myself, if I was coming into this as like a new save game, what formation would I actually play with this team? And I came to the conclusion, based off the players that we have, the lack of wider players, the fact we have a lot of wide players who actually are strikers that just happen to play out wide. And I realised there's no point in playing wingers. We have so many good strikers in this team. Our best players are strikers. We've got our Conte, Trey George, Brandon Charles, Robbie Yer. I might as well just play more strikers. And so, after 3 games played of the season with a fresh haircut, I switched to this. It's labelled Plan G. I promise it wasn't kind of the 8th idea I had for a tactical system. I don't even know if G is the 8th letter of the alphabet, to be honest. But this is the team that I have been playing, and it's been very, very successful. Now, of course, last episode we got a draw and 2 defeats, and you can see from that point onwards, I changed the system, and I just kept playing Football Manager. Do you ever have that thing where you just can't stop playing your save game? You don't want to stop playing. You're thinking, one more game, one more game, one more game. I was sat doing that in my pyjamas until the early hours of the morning when I decided the FA Cup against Portsmouth was a good time to come back. Now, what I will say is I have been changing this system a little bit as we've gone along, but I do feel like I've landed on something with this which I think we can play. I feel like it plays to the strengths of our players. It allows us to get our Conte, Charles and Yer all in striking positions. Robbie Yer, as a central target man, has really shone in this system. 10 goals, 5 assists. But he has not been the only goal scorer. You can see Trey George has been scoring for fun, and a lot of these have come from centre mid. 6 goals, 3 assists, a 7.36 rating. And he's just been playing as this free man on a centre mid on attack. And this system, I mean, I'm going to be honest, it's not big. It's not sexy, really. We have the wing-backs overlap. We look to get the ball into the box when we can. Low crosses, play it into dangerous areas. And then if we do want to go for the big out ball, we have got Robbie there. Now, in terms of how this system operates, there's one highlight and one goal I want to show here because I think it's a really, really good example of how this system works. We get big overloads in the middle, we get lots of players forward, and we get lots of players into the box. You can see here, as this cross is taken, 5 players in there. On this occasion, it was Trey George with the header against Basingstoke. And we are able just to flood the box with this system. Like I said, it's not got a load of instructions. It's not overly complicated. But when I look at it and I look at how our players fit into it, it just makes so much more sense than the 4-2-4, and I don't know really why I didn't even consider this as an idea sooner. Now, to be honest, when I first changed the tactical system, it wasn't like an overnight success. There was this result against Dorking, which was a convincing one. This was the first game playing the new system. Naturally, when I saw Yor get 2, Charles get 2, and George get a goal playing as a striker, I started to think, maybe there's some credence to playing 3 strikers. And then in the very next game, naturally, we won this one 1-0 against Aldershot. In a game where we had a load of shots, but to be honest, we weren't that impressive. But one thing that I liked about this performance was how good we were defensively. Sadly, that didn't last because of this game against Oldham. I'll tell you what, if this had been a live commentary, then I might not have got the video on YouTube. It may never have seen the light of day. We were playing Oldham. We were winning, albeit against the run of play, 4-3 in the 94th minute. They scored in 4 minutes of added time and 7 minutes of added time. I'm going to show the last goal. It's going to make me angry to watch it again. But yeah, we lost 5-4. And, well, you might have noticed there, our XG for this game was 1. And I will level with you, this was the game that kind of inspired me to start tactically tinkering a little bit. I tried having hit early, crosses on, pass into space, and actually I found simplifying things saw us get some better results. Now, it wasn't an overnight success. We did get draws against Boston away and Chesterfield at home. 2 very good teams. Boston United, by the way, currently top of the league. And as someone who was born in Boston, lovely to see them top of the league, although I would quite like to be there. Following on from that, wins against Woking and Hartlepool. Not convincing results, these ones, but the games you have to grind out and get wins in. And what I will say is, we've been in some good run of form, but there has been games like this one against Hartlepool where we have relied on very, very late goals in order to get results. This one, not the most convincing. Neither was the win against York. Again, 1-0. I suppose the one silver lining here is we kept a clean sheet and we limited the number of goals we conceded, which has, let's be honest, been an ongoing issue here. Since then, though, we have had an easier run of games. We beat Basingstoke 4-1. In the FA Cup, not a convincing performance, but we did manage to get a win. We then lost our only game, really, in the last month that we've looked outclassed in. This one against Accrington Stanley. We did have a sending off in the 10th minute, so maybe that played a factor. This was a disappointing one, but given the fact we went down a man, I wasn't going to overreact too much. And I'm glad that I didn't overreact, because most recently we beat Curzon Ashton 4-0, Port Vale 2-1, and then Yeovil 1-0. I do want to show the first goal, I think it was in the Curzon Ashton game, because I talked, with the earlier highlight about how we get players forward and we can create these overloads, but also when it comes to pressing, with 3 strikers against teams like Curzon Ashton who want to play out from the back with their teams, we can cause them all kinds of problems. You can see here, there's lots of players committed to the attack anyway, but we win the ball here and there's just so many options. We just get teams pinned back. We hold on to the ball fairly well when we do get it, and as you can see by this scoreline here, this was just a really good performance. 4-0. Also nice to see Slimani get on the score sheet. I will say, it's the only goal he's got for the club so far. Now, just to circle back to the tactical system a little bit, because I feel like we should talk about it a tiny bit more. In terms of the back four, fairly standard centre-backs on defend with wing-backs on support. Of course, the wing-backs on support with no one ahead of them do need to get up and down the pitch. That is why we've got the look for the overlap instruction on them. When it comes to the deep-lying kind of midfielder, you'll see here, Hanusek is actually playing as a roaming playmaker, which he gets a really bad star rating for. But if you actually look at him as a roaming playmaker, he has 9s and above in absolutely everything, which for a demanding role at this level is absolutely fine. And something that I love about the roaming playmaker, and it was one of my favourite roles in last year's Park to Prem, is the fact that it's a player that will come short for the entire back four. If you play with a deep line playmaker, they just sit in the middle. They are like a rock. They do not move. And a roaming playmaker will come short for the wing backs. Will also look to get forward on occasion, which can leave you open at the back. But for me, it is the best playmaker role to play in this deeper area, just because it helps you to play out from the back that little bit more. Of course, when we get to the midfielders, Trey George playing as a centre mid on attack. Centre mid on attack was amazing last year in Football Manager. Truth be told, I've not used it much this year until now, but Trey George is making it work for him. One of the reasons I'm having to play him in this role is because with us ditching the wide attacking midfielders, those wide attacking midfielders now need to get game time as one of the front three. And while speaking of the front three, you can see how we're lined up. We are keeping the target forward, advance forward combo going, but Robbie has taken up this quite central role, been a really good player to kind of get the ball forward to. He holds up the play nicely as well. And then to his left and right, we have Charles and Arconte on this occasion. Arconte has looked pretty good in this role. He's not been getting a load of goals, but he tends to get wide, get it on his right foot and put some good balls into the box. Out on the left-hand side, Brandon Charles, who I was throwing under the bus, has looked a lot better. I will say, 5 goals and 3 assists in his last 10 is good numbers. It's not quite as good as last year still. Now, I have also made one new signing since last episode. With us playing with 3 strikers, I felt like maybe we needed another attacking option, and that attacking option is Robbie Smith. I mean, he looks amazing. He should be really good. I will say now, obviously, inconsistent, doesn't enjoy big matches, but he's joined us as a fringe player on £150 a week. And on his day, I think he's better than players like Brandon Charles, to be honest. On paper, naturally his inconsistency holds him back. He's not exactly set the world alight since he started playing for us, but he's doing okay. And of course, now with us playing 3 centre mids instead of 2 centre mids, there's a few more options there, especially because we do have a lot of centre mids, truth be told. Gibua, Ferguson, Slimani, Borg, Hanusek, Trey George and Tanner Jones, the centre mid options we have. There was no real way to get all of these players into the team on a semi-frequent basis with our previous system. Like I said at the top of things, this shape, when you look at it and you look at our squad, it kind of looks like our squad was created for this shape. When I looked at this with kind of a fresh set of eyes, this made sense, and so far it's been working pretty well. Some of you might remember, but in last year's Park to Prem, we actually played a similar system to this with a target forward, and I think it was an advanced forward next to them, but we actually had a extra centre mid, but I've not really felt a need for that just yet. Of course, the nice thing about this system is it's got different routes we can go down. We can go to a 4-1-2-1-2 down the line, we can maybe go to a more conservative 4-1-3-2 if we wanted to, but at the moment, I'm kind of liking the 3 strikers. It's causing defences defence's issues, and like I said at the top of things, our best players are strikers, our best asset is our goal scoring. This works. Anyway, I've done a whole lot of talking there about this new system. I feel like I have to fill you in. We've played a lot of football. We are up to third in the league, like I mentioned before. One thing to note is, with the exception of Boston, no one is actually playing very well in this league. In fact, there are very few teams that have looked amazing throughout the whole season. Teams have come through good spells and bad spells. We, of course, find ourselves in third with a game in hand. We have dropped points in 7 of our 16 games, and we're in third. This is a year where everyone is bottling it. It's perhaps worth noting we could lose a couple of games and find ourselves as low as kind of 12th. So things could still change rather quickly. And after the Portsmouth game today, we are playing Maidenhead in 5th. Now, Portsmouth in this save game are currently in League One. They are not doing all that well. They were, of course, in the Championship for a few years, but relegated a couple of years ago. Lost out on the playoffs last year. Their media prediction was third. They're struggling. They did have a midweek game. I want to believe they might be there for the taking. Unhappy players, fitness lacking. Maybe this is our time to shine. Now, in terms of team selection, this is the team we're going to go with. It's kind of weird. There's not actually that much different in the personnel between the 4-2-4 and this system here. The one notable change, I suppose, is the fact that Falbo finds himself on the bench. He has now been able to become accomplished at striker. We've played him there on occasion, but he's not looked amazing, to be honest, so he's on the bench for now. As for Tanner Jones, he did get sent off in a game, but besides the one game where he was sent off, he's looked very, very good in the centre of the midfield. I feel like his physicals really lend himself well to this box-to-box midfielder role. I know mentally and technically he's not really complete enough for a box-to-box midfielder, but at this level, with the system that we play, where we like to break with numbers from midfield, he fits it well. Keep an eye on him. Elsewhere, Yer has been the main man, I think, for us. 10 goals, 5 assists, 7.49 rating. Kind of interested to see how this system does today. It's proven itself against teams in our league. Of course, I am continuing to tweak instructions. Somewhat interested to see how it is going to do today. Worth noting, if this game goes to a replay, we will be doing a Jack Dozen away day in Portsmouth. So there's a minority of you out there right now cheering for a draw. I would quite like to do the game against Maidenhead. I'd like to show you what we can do against teams in our own league and hopefully actually win a game live to start the season. I say to start the season, it's the second episode of the season. I have played 16 games of it. To be honest, until we had our recent really good run of form, I had kind of accepted it was going to be a mid-table season. I was kind of thinking in my head, this is going to be a 4-episode season. But this system has gone from strength to strength. We've continued to look good. And with that in mind, we now find ourselves back in the playoff hunt all of a sudden, which I suppose sums up the National League, where a third of the teams get the playoffs. Our Conte, I mean, you can see why he's only got 1 goal for the season. That was a great chance, wasn't it? Corner for Portsmouth on the far side. Barlaser putting it in. It's headed away. George is going to pick up the pieces. He has the physicality to bring the ball forward, and he doesn't have the passing range to pull off whatever attempted pass that was he was going for there. The ball is played to Cummings. Header missed, and I'll tell you what, Jordan Cummings has finished that quite well for Portsmouth. The ball was dinked through, I think, by Benson, or was it Britton who dinked it through? Someone dinked it, and then the header, Wilson, the new signing at centre-back, not looked particularly good there. Portsmouth take the lead. I want to say it's against run of play, but when you look at the stats, is it against the run of play, really? They've had a lot more of the ball, but we've done more when we've got the ball. We aren't having quite as much of the ball as I would like. I'm going to ask the players to shorten the passing, and you know what? We are going to just try and distribute it to our defence. Let's just try and hold on to the ball a little bit more. The first half an hour has not been bad by any means, but you are going to struggle to win matches where you have 40% possession. That's not to say it's impossible, but, we should probably try and react a little bit. Anyway, Perner bringing the ball forward. He is playing in at left back. Still don't feel like I have a great left back option, but Perner's done the business so far. McGuinness on the far side. Threading through while Conte. He had a one-on-one already. Referee, that has to be a penalty. It's going to be given, right? It is going to be given. Who's over the penalty? It's Hanusek. I think he scored one last episode. It didn't mean much in the grand scheme of things. Can he score one here? Yes, he can. Through the middle we go. We caught them on the counter-attack. Our Conte is causing issues getting in behind, and it was right back McGuinness playing the ball forward. I feel like with our last system, the wing-backs very rarely actually got the ball forward to attackers. They always seem to just go down the wing to the wingers. Now that they don't have anyone ahead of them, they are going to have to play those balls forward, and we saw it on full display there. We are back in this game, and look at the stats. This is a really good performance against a League One team so far, he says, as they get a corner. Ball whipped in. Don't concede a set piece, please. Stansfield has the ball, getting into a wide area. Might get to the byline, puts it in, and it's Marquez with the goal. Why did I say anything? I feel like Football Manager has a weird thing when it comes to players positioning themselves after set pieces, when set pieces are half cleared. Like in this situation here, I'm not entirely sure how Marquez is unmarked. I'm not entirely sure by the entire shape of our defence. But as much as I want to moan, and we need action on the pitch. They've had 2 shots on target. They've both gone in. Can we have an immediate response? George, I thought was about to pick out Charles. It's plucked off his head by Cumming. Naturally, with the free striker system and us having the instruction to prevent the keeper playing short, you can see here, it looks like we're summoning something on Cumming. He is going to be forced to play long here. He's going to pick out Dobbing as well, I think, with the ball, the number 9. He goes inside to Cummings. It's dispossessed. Hanusek, heads it down to Alconte, who kicks it at the back of your shins. What is the goalkeeper going to do? Last time he went long. Is he going to go long again? He's going to launch it down the middle. Wilson doesn't get there. Cumming, I mean, it's an annoying goal to concede. Oh, it's offside. It's offside. Breathe a sigh of relief, everyone. Could you see the despair? I mean, there we have it. Really well done by Football Manager there for me to be able to see how far offside he is from that highlight. Okay, it's only 2-1 at the break. Mentally reset, everyone. We've got to go again. Going to tell the players I'm not happy. Do I want to change any of the personnel early? You know what? I'm going to change one player. I'm going to bring in, I think, Falbo. I'm going to take off our Conte. Falbo is left-footed, so I'm going to play him on the left-hand side with Charles on his right foot on the right. Perner's not had a good game today, so you know what? Williams come in. And sensibly, I should probably hold on to a sub. It's just dawned on me. This is the FA Cup. I can have 7 subs for this competition, and I've only named 5. That's awkward. I mean, I could not acknowledge it in the video, but I know that you guys in the comments, there'll be some people going, Jack, why didn't you have 2 more subs? Because I'm inept. That's the answer. Because I'm inept. Are you happy now? George, you're 1-on-1. He probably should have scored. I mean, 2-1 against League One opposition is not too bad. Naturally, I'd love to go on an FA Cup run, so I'd love a goal as we launch the ball into the box. It's dealt with. Hanusek, though, keeps it alive. Charles, finishes it. Please be onside. Please be onside. I don't think he's offside, but I don't want to celebrate. It's 2-2. Okay, we can now celebrate. I'm waiting for it to get pulled back, you know. Ball was played in here, headed away initially. George headed it, George challenged for it. Hanusek won his header. Charles then won a header. And Yor was just lurking in the middle to make it 2-2. Free kick for Portsmouth on this near side. Dobbin with the ball. Should I be scared? He's dinked it. Benjamin heads it to McGuinness. Back with Benjamin now. Knocking it around the back, of course. With that roaming playmaker, you'll see him constantly trying to make himself open. On this occasion, we're going to go wide to the wider striker in Falbo. Williams, of course, more of a centre-back than a wing-back, but needs must today. We don't really have a good left-back. He's as good as any, Williams. Even better than Perner on occasion. Ball played forward. Falbo's lurking away. Fresh off the bench. Hits the post, but manages to squeeze it in. It's his 3rd goal of the season. Did anyone else not see Falbo behind the defender there? I thought this was a horrifically misplaced pass. Did anyone else spot this? Like here, George has the ball, and Falbo, he's hiding. It's like, where's Wally? He appears from nowhere. I thought he'd fluffed it, but he got a second chance. He scored it. We're 3-2 up. Do I change anything? I don't think I do. I'm thinking about the first game of last episode where we were 2-0 up with 10 minutes left and I changed stuff. I'm not touching anything. I'm not doing it. I'll shout demand more. I'll get shouty. This has been a really good team display. I am going to take this chance to take off Tanner Jones, I think. I'm going to bring in Slimani at box-to-box midfielder. We have got a corner to deal with here, but McDonald's going to clutch onto it. And then does that. What was that? I feel like that's not in his instructions. I've not told him to do that, Football Manager. Might still be a chance for Portsmouth. I'm hoping this isn't a chance. I'm hoping this is one of those fake news highlights that happens when you make a sub. Can we just skip this corner? I don't want to watch it. Thank you, Football Manager. I mean, when you look at the stats for this game, we're 3-2 up. We've got an XG of 3.5. We have created so much. Naturally, Falbo's goal where he hit the post and then got the rebound, that inflates the XG a little bit. But with 3 minutes left of added time, we're about to beat League One opposition here. And when you contrast this to last episode, I mean, let's be honest, the 4-2-4 it looks rubbish now, doesn't it? I think this is the future. I've seen the future. It's 3 strikers and it's this team here. This is a really, really good performance against League One opposition. I can't quite believe it. It felt rather straightforward, even though they did score 2. Super sub Falbo inspires Guernsey. Great sub, Jack. That's on you. Falbo picked up man of the match, I think. We get £41,000 for winning that game. We also enter the second round of the FA Cup, which is all very exciting. Falbo did get man of the match. Very, very pleased with you. He might now have to start the next one. Speaking of which, that next game is against Maidenhead. They are in 6th, we are in 3rd. If they win, they go above us. You might have spotted it here. We could be down as low as 8th by the end of this episode if we lose this next game. Things are very, very close at the top. It's very chaotic. We just need to finish in the top 7. That's the aim. Let's see if we can continue our pursuit of that in this next one. Don't go anywhere. So you might have spotted it, this second game today is away from home against Maidenhead. We have already done Maidenhead away, and it was one of the worst away days. Apparently, I think it was one of the oldest stadiums ever, but that doesn't get any points. Doesn't have a swimming pool. Sorry, you're not as good as Yeovil. And also, well, having done it, this is my punishment. I don't get to do away days because I've been stuck in the same division for 3 years. Once we get out of the National League, we'll have way more away days and it'll be a great old time. Let's hope that we can continue what has been a really good run of form here. Of course, winning against Portsmouth was a big one. I was tempted to rotate the team a little bit more. Instead, I've decided to rest them up so that we can play an unchanged team, with the exception of one thing. Falbo has come in for our Conte. I am also thinking about dropping Tanner Jones, but I don't know, form dictates he has been one of our better options. It's a similar story with Perner. I kind of mentioned the left-back area. Perner was not good against Portsmouth. Prior to that, he had been on a good little run of form. So, yeah, I don't really know what to do. I want to pick our players based off form, but it feels like no one except maybe the attackers strings together more than a couple of good games in a row. Anyway, Falbo is in the team. We're staying with the 4-3-3. Speaking of which, I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier on in the video, explaining it, showing the highlights of how it works. You've now seen a game of it. I'd be interested to know what you think about it. I know 3 striker systems can be quite hit and miss in Football Manager, but I think at this lower level, with the amount of strikers that we have, and with the wingers that weren't necessarily natural wingers, this is just a system that fits our team better, and to be honest, just plays to the strengths of our team. We have a good physical presence in Yer. We've got some pacey strikers that can get in behind, and at this level, it just seems to work. Now, granted, we've changed things around a little bit. I'm sure it will continue to see tweaks, but this is one of my favourite things in Football Manager, where you feel like you kind of just stumble upon a winning formula. I realise I'm saying all of this. We'll probably now lose this game to Maidenhead. But just to circle back to the original thing, let me know what you make of this system. Have you played anything like this year? Have you played 3 strikers this year? Have you used a target forward? I'd be interested to know. Don't want to alarm anyone. 30 minutes into this game, we've had more of the ball as the away team. No highlights yet until now, where they have a corner, and this is our kryptonite, isn't it? Set pieces have just been an ongoing weakness for us, although, well, I thought for a second we were going to have dealt with it. The ball isn't away from danger. Dyer's there with a header. McDonald makes a good save. McDonald, I've seen in the comments section, he's come under some criticism, and I'm not overly convinced by him, but there just isn't better goalkeepers out there. I've had a look. As a semi-pro team, it just They don't exist. And as inconsistent as it feels like he can be, I feel like that is just the nature of goalkeepers in Football Manager. Goalkeepers, you only ever notice them in Football Manager with key highlights when they're making mistakes. Just like Beach made a mistake there. Brandon Charles, goal number 9 of the season. And I'll be honest, I was expecting him to square it, and he just kept running and running and running in a straight line. It was like Forrest Gump on the right-hand side. Who was it who even gave him the ball forward? It was Jones who gave it to him, and then Charles just picks it up. You think he's not got time and space to get inside. James puts in half a tackle. And, well, it was actually a rather good finish at the end of it. We've got the lead here. Talked into existence by complaining about the lack of a highlight. Denny over the free kick. Maidenhead going to look to get a goal back before half-time. Barlow with it, playing it forward. Wilson wins it well. George to Tanner Jones. So the 2 Welsh centre-mids have been linking up. And Brandon Charles has got in behind again. And then for whatever reason, he's decided to try and chip the keeper with a cheeky chip. He hasn't got that in his locker, as we've seen there. It's hit the crossbar, it's gone over. It's going to be the last bit of action to end the half. It's worth noting, perhaps, that this has been a very, very even game. And whilst we have had a little bit more of the ball, On overall balance, I suppose Maidenhead might feel a little bit unlucky. Beach bringing the ball out of defence for Maidenhead and looking to go long, but the ball is won and we are back in possession. It is going to be Trey George giving it wide to Charles, who's going to get into that wide area and look to get it into the box where Robbie Yar, the target forward, is waiting to double our lead. That was a really nice goal. Despite the fact with this system we don't have wide attacking mids, the wider strikers do go into those wider areas. You can see it here with Charles. And with him dropping wide, it does open up this channel of space for the centre mids to move up into. The wider strikers really do provide some width at times, as we've seen there. Free kick for Maidenhead. Valentine over it. Are we going to have to take a bullet for him? Not on this occasion. It's gone wide. It's been a good game, but Tanner Jones has been disappointing, as has Falbo. So you know what? I'm going to go back to a similar look to what we had last game. Conte's going to come on the right. I am going to bring in Slimani as well. Hanusek, I'm going to swap out for Lewis Ferguson too. I feel like the roaming playmaker really does make this system tick. It's what allows it to work with the two midfielders in front. Ferguson there as the roaming playmaker, doing a little bit of defending. Obviously, the roaming playmaker is positioned as a defensive midfielder, so does sit. But really, their main aim is just to help us play out from the back when we don't want to go long. McGuinness, Benjamin, to Ferguson. Speaking of the devil, here he is looking to pick out our Conte. He's going to take down the ball and, well, for a second I thought play in Charles. It was read well defensively. Maidenhead looking to go long, but we have got plenty of men back behind the ball here as Denny, the right back, is on the overlap. Looking maybe to beat his man, and then Perner's got sent off. I hate Perner so much. I hate him so, he makes me so angry. We're down a man. That's a problem. I just realised I've made all my subs as well, haven't I? I've made all my subs. George, you're not a left back. He can't play left back. Slimani can't play left back. Fergus, I don't really have a team for this situation. You know what? Trey George, today, you're a left back. Good luck, my friend. Charles is going to drop back into the midfield. I don't really want to change the shape of us defensively, although I will just change the wing backs on to defend and our mentality onto positive. Maybe in our interest to shorten the passing as well. We now have the resulting free kick to deal with. If they score immediately from this, it is going to be a disaster. It's played across. McGuinness heads it away. Arconte looking to bring the ball out. I mean, if we score on the counter-attack, happy days. Well, Conte, where are you going? He's on his own. He's got one man in the middle to aim for. I'll tell you what, for a second, I really thought he was about to score that. We have still got the resulting corner. Charles over it. I mean, 2 goals up, 24 minutes left, but down a man. Would you back us to win this game from here? Ordinarily, I'd say yes, but after last episode, I don't believe in anything when it comes to this team. Okay, 10 minutes left to hold on. Our 2-goal lead is intact for now, although Maidenhead with the ball, going to be looking to bring it forward. Dink towards their striker. McDonald collects heroically. Now I kind of just want him to roll it out short and nothing to happen. But of course, Football Manager isn't going to allow that to happen. He goes long. Robbie Yar has the ball. I mean, if we get one more, it's game over. But can you really expect us to get the goal? Down a man, Ferguson, Charles. I mean, this is nice build-up play. And what was that? Brandon Charles can play at centre mid if we need him to. Today I learned that might be the best goal he's ever scored for us, and he has scored quite a lot over the years. I'll be honest, didn't expect him to shoot from there, and I didn't expect it to actually go in. Ferguson lays it off to him. Charles pulls the trigger. It's not even in the corner. He just smashed it down the middle. It's 3-0. Just as a reminder, Maidenhead are a good team. Like, they're in 5th. They were 2 places behind us going into this one, and well, as the away team, we've come, we've fouled, we've got a red card, and we've conquered with 3 goals. Of course, naturally now I'm sat nervously expecting them to get a goal back after I've just started flexing about how great we are. But McDonald, I'll tell you what, he's collected another one there. And he's going to go long again. He really doesn't understand this short passing instruction, does he, that we've given. Anyway, Yar's got the ball in the wide area. Of course, we've only got the 2 strikers now, although I'll tell you what, that ball to Arconte was sensational. That deserved a goal at the end of it. 3 minutes of added time. We're down to the last minute of it. This game is done. A 3-0 win. And I'll tell you what, I was a bit worried after a really good run of form. Having seen the system perform well, I was going to hit the start record button and everything was going to go wrong. I couldn't have been further from that. That is a sensational result. And the cherry on top of a very, very good episode. And looking at some of the teams around of us, a few of them slipped up. Sadly, Boston United, not one of those teams. They are still 12 points ahead of us. Brandon Charles did pick up man of the match, 2 goals, 1 assist. He can do it as a centre mid. He can do it as a striker, and I'm sat looking at this team thinking, I can feel the magic of last season coming back. It's here. It's arrived. Hopefully we can keep going in the FA Cup as well, where, worth noting, we've been drawn at home against Oldham. I don't know if I'm going to come back for that one, because Oldham, they're not as sexy as Portsmouth. Sorry, Oldham fans. You're welcome. Portsmouth fans. Yeah, we should win that game. Like I said during the Portsmouth game, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do this season. I was half expecting kind of around the Hartlepool game. It was going to be a season where we're in mid-table. We might not even get the playoffs. And so I thought, I'll just play a load of Football Manager. We'll get through this season quickly. It's a season of kind of transition. And all of a sudden, a month later, I'm looking at it thinking, we're bloody massive. If you've played a system like this, or you just have some general thoughts on a system like this, I'd love to see them down in the comments. A little bit of a rethink. Of course, the 4-2-4 does live on. It could be our secret plan in our back pocket. But at least for now, Robbie Yar, surrounded by two speedsters, just seems to be the way to go. If you have enjoyed today's episode of Park to Prem, please do drop a like on the video. I will be back next time for more of the same on Monday. Have a lovely weekend. I'll see you in a couple of days. And until then, it's me, Jack, and I'll talk to you in a bit. I'm out.